Hello, welcome back to the MMA Split podcast. I'm Matt, your host, joined as always by my producer to my right, Josh, and not always with us, but delighted to have him back on the show. It is Sly. He's been a busy man. I think he's going to continue to be a busy man. So we're certainly thankful for the episodes that we do get him for, particularly this one, as he won our bloody picks competition. So we got a lot to talk about this episode. UFC 275 is in the books. One of the best cards of the year, had one of the best fights of the year, arguably one of the greatest fights of all time. We'll be discussing that. We'll be discussing Valentina Shevchenko, her defense. Did we think it was a robbery? Did she deserve it? Taking a look at the rematch with Joanna and Weili Zhang. Joanna, of course, retired after that fight. And having a quick look at the rest of the card as well. If you're enjoying the content, guys, please like and subscribe. If you're not subscribed already, feel free to leave comments as well. All feedback is appreciated. With that out the way, let's talk about this main event. Yuri Procházka taking on Glovatoxera, the 42-year-old man taking on the young Bushido Samurai. It's the fight that ended up getting Sly his picks competition win. It's the fight that got Yuri Procházka his belt in just his third UFC fight. And it was a heartbreaker for Glovatoxera, who did everything but hang on for another 28 seconds to win that fight and retain the belt in what would have been one of the most spectacular fashions. Sly, you won the pick show. It seems only fair to go to you first. What was your thoughts on this one? You and on the podcast, this fight's not lasting longer than 6 minutes either direction. I was wrong.
Sorry?
Well, did anyone
I'm
know
doing the fuck.
that both guys were going to turn up with granite chins? 'Cause no one thought that they were chinny, but let's be real for a second. These guys hit fucking hard. And Glover's got that fucking ground and pound and sub threat as well, so it seemed pretty fucking reasonable that it wasn't going to get to the championship rounds. That being said, Jesus Christ, what a great masterstroke of matchmaking. This really was just the best fight of the year so far. It was so much fun. This is the equivalent of like a lower league open-ended football game. It was just fucking end-to-end stuff, just ridiculous. At any given point, you were like, Jesus Christ, Yuri's about to win this fight, or shit, Glover's about to win this fight. I like what you say about Yuri being relaxed in there. Did anyone else see the encouraging pats on Glover's back a couple of times in key situations where it looked like he might be tapping?
I saw that, but it didn't really look like he was tapping. It did look like it was kind of like a sort of a slap to a certain extent.
So
I saw him put his thumbs up a lot of times, so he was fine.
yeah. When he was fighting off the chokes, that's an important thing to do to communicate with the ref. But when the ref's watching you, and you're eating some ground and pound, or you're having like an arm triangle, head and arm triangle set up, it was like kind of patting him on the back, being like, he was saying like he was giving him encouragement. Goddard said he was playing a dangerous fucking game doing that, but it is what it is. I've seen fights finished for that. It wasn't. I can't remember the guy who's fighting. Jack Marshman back in Cage Warriors. Basically just had, I think not even full mount. I think he had half guard on the guy. And the guy just panicked and kind of tapped. And he was like, it's just a weird thing in my head. Like, almost like when you're in sparring, you're like, yeah, I've lost this position. I'll just tap to move on to the next one. I just wasn't really thinking. The truth is, it doesn't really have to be much of a tap. If the referee deems it to be a tap, then you're shit out of luck. It was a bad idea. But fuck it. He was relaxed.
He was relaxed. And, I mean, I think what made this fight really stand out was the momentum shifts. You know, you'd had rounds that Glover won. You had the round that Yuri Procházka clearly won. I felt that, obviously, on the scorecards, it was certainly going towards a Glover decision. If he'd hung on for another 28 seconds, he had it in the bag. But it's not like any one round was just one guy dominating. Every round had these crazy swings in position, momentum. And I think what really stands out about this fight is anybody that thinks that fights with a lot of grappling aren't exciting. This, for me, is the fight that completely disproves it. Because 90%, I mean, 50% of this fight was positions on the ground, but it was thrilling at all times. Both guys looking to end the fight at all times.
Yeah, but it's not the same. This is obviously this is really good. This is like jiu-jitsu. This isn't like when two wrestlers are just like fucking just holding the other one on the floor and doing nothing.
No,
Um,
guys were hitting
you know,
sweeps. It was dynamic.
they were
It was
doing,
exciting. They look like fucking
exciting.
flyweights in moments. That,
Mm.
which is not something I thought I would say on this episode, but that's how they were scrambling.
Well,
When they hit those sweeps, some of those were like, Jesus fucking Christ! I did not know you could do that, Yuri Procházka. I'm impressed.
I'll tell you, it was interesting. We talk about both guys hitting hard. I think the threat of being taken down definitely made Yuri kind of struggle to plant his feet. Sort of watching some of the highlights of the fight back, he's a lot of the times he's throwing strikes kind of as he's moving around, and I think that just goes to testify that it's a testament to how great of a grappler Glover is. Even with him trying to stay light on his feet and long, he still consistently was able to get taken down pretty much every single round. And yet, to his credit, he was in a variety of fight-ending positions where we've seen Glover, not give a guy an inch in those situations. How many times have we seen Glover be in a mounted position and not finish a fight? And yet Yuri would keep finding a way to scramble, finding a way to survive.
Or just get to
It
the
was
bell.
nuts. Yeah. Glover will forever rue trying to jump that guillotine though in the fifth round, because that was the moment. He's tagging him on the feet. He hits him with a monster right hand, a huge left hook. I think Yuri needed maybe 5 punches and he was done at that point. And he
Maybe.
jumps for that guillotine.
Well, he had the
almost...
standing locked in. You have the standing locked in while your man's out on his feet. The fuck are you jumping that for? But I think Yuri lulls him in, because he does. It's not that he makes mistakes and fights stupidly or naively, but he makes big risks that he feels comfortable doing. He was looking for that flying knee early and often in the fight, and it was in a stark contrast to, like you say, not really planting his feet and overextending on the combinations, and then kind of looking for the home run. It's like, I'll play smart and I'm going to do something fucking wild. And it works for him. He finishes a lot of fights. He looks like a dominant fucking force in this weight class. I don't know why Glover got suckered into playing the same game. He jumps guard on that. Jesus Christ, that upset me. Try and finish the standing guillotine. Or at least take a fucking minute off the clock. I don't know. But yeah, he had him banged to rights there, I was sure of it.
Even after that, he still gets in a better position. He still finds a way to look like he's going to win the fight. And it's just one mistake. I mean, the only thing I'd say is, in all the things that Glover thought was going to happen when Yuri reversed that position with 40 seconds to go, I think him trying to lock in a rear naked choke would have been the absolute last thing on his mind. You just don't think that this guy is going to go into your wheelhouse. And fair play to Yuri, man. He believed, he stayed active trying to win the fight, and he locked it in with no hooks against a black belt who's never been tapped in MMA before. If that doesn't deserve you winning the belt, I don't know what does. But heartbreaking for Glover, because that was the fight of his fucking life, man. And DC asking him afterwards, like, is this, what are you going to do next? Are you done? And he's just like, how did I look in there? And he's like, you looked amazing. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to keep going. He ain't no fucking 43-year-old normal human. He's a different type, man. He's a Bernard Hopkins type. There's a different guy.
Well, can we say, like, fair enough? Fuck Ankalaev, fuck Yan, fuck everyone else in queue. Let's just run it back.
Rematch.
Yeah.
Rematch.
Obviously,
100%
this
rematch.
is the only fight. If we're going to do a fourth fight of something, I want it to be these two. Figgy, Moreno, you can wait. I want to see this fight at least three more times.
What's your thoughts, Sly? Would you like to see Glover run it back? Do you think he's deserved that? Or do you think it's young?
Yeah.
It was the knee matrix glitch.
Fighter when it comes to the elite. Anthony Smith, if he beats him, I don't think it's going to look pretty. I don't think it's going to be particularly dominant. I think it's going to be pulling back a loss by getting something effective, which Smith can do. Run it back with Glover, man. What's the guy's whole career is a story of not getting the opportunity he deserved when he deserved it. He had to wait 10 bloody years to get into the UFC. He had to fight John Jones when he got his first title shot. The number of setbacks he's had, the number of times he's come back. He's 42. Give the guy a fucking rematch.
Yeah, one of the most famous finishes of him is the Gustafsson one. Comes off the back of a pretty nasty eye poke. He was already seeing double by the time Gustafsson teed up those 3 uppercuts. The Rumble Johnson one, just, it's fucking Rumble. Rumble landed a good uppercut in the first, 20 seconds of that fight. It's done. Yeah, he fucking deserves to fight at least 3 more times in a row. I want to see it happening. I want to see Yuri go 4.
I'm not going to go that far, but it's a fight they deserve to say. Last word on Yuri, and I just want to say this because it's something I really respect about somebody that is a true martial artist. He looks more upset than anybody else with the way that fight went, even though he won the belt. And fills me with a lot of confidence for a champ going forward if they can have their belt-winning moment happen, and the only thing they focus on is how disappointed they are in their own performance. I think that suggests that we can expect some pretty exciting stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. Moving on to the co-main event, Valentina Shevchenko, Tyler Santos. We all knew it was going to be a tough fight, close fight. I think we all thought it was still going to be Valentina dominating. Tyler Santos took her all the way, and a lot of people think she won the fight. First things first, who thinks Valentina won? Who thinks Santos won?
I gave Santos those first 2 rounds. I had Santos winning, and I think if they had stopped the fight in the 4th for the fractured orbital off the back of an accidental clash of heads, I think if they go to the cards at that point, Shevchenko does still win, but it shouldn't have been that way. It's hard to say because obviously we since they updated the scoring criteria, it's been very inconsistent from the judges on how they'll interpret this. And it's such a hard one to do, and they come under the limelight for a lot of things. I don't hear people complaining about this one as much as the Holly Holm decision, which is interesting to me because I think there's a lot more to kind of unpack on this one. Did you guys have Shevchenko?
As in when the fight.
Yeah, taking 3 rounds.
I said to Matt, I thought Santos had won it. But since then, I've kind of looked back to the stats, and maybe Shevchenko deserved to win it. But I thought Santos had won it.
I thought Shevchenko won either round 1 or round 2, and I thought that the judges were going to give her one of those. In round 1, she had to fight off the rear naked choke, but she landed a lot of rabbit punches. I personally didn't make that enough for me to give her the round, but I did think she outlanded and outdamaged Santos in round 2. And Santos wasn't aggressive enough in her position. She kind of just stalled and held position. Yeah. So even watching it live, I kind of felt that it was probably, if she won the last 2 rounds, it was probably going to go to her. What I do think, though, is if Santos's eye doesn't close up, I don't know if I can tell you that Valentina wins those last 2 rounds the way she does.
It's not just the cut eye. She's got a fractured orbital off that head clash.
It was clearly a fractured orbital the way it swelled up that quickly. It was nasty.
Yeah, I did think she was the closest to finishing the fight and doing the more damage early on. I did. I gave her the first 3 rounds, and I hope they run this one back. I know she's asking for the Miesha Tate fight at the end of the year if she gets past Lauren Murphy, but one, I don't know if she's going to get past Lauren Murphy, and 2, I just want to see the Tyler Santos fight again. I can't think of another.
Would you guys like to know some stats for the Shevchenko?
I mean, yes and no, because
Do you guys want to?
Trent Reinsmith did a good article on this last week, actually. We really need to get away from looking at the stats too much, because it's not a point scoring criteria anymore. It is for immediate damage or cumulative damage that is going to contribute towards ending the fight. So you could be outlanded, sort of 20-1. But if you take all of those shots very well, and you damn near kill them when you land your one shot, then theoretically that should be your round. It's an interesting one, and I'm not seeing a consistent shift from the judges.
They do. Well, the thing is, it's hard because there is a cumulative damage. So even if the shots aren't individually as significant, you do have to factor in that them in great enough quantity should level that out. But the question is how do you measure? Like, let's say you were to call shots light, medium, and heavy. English around where one guy's landed 3 heavy shots and another person's landed 30 light shots. Like, how do you calculate that those 30 strikes all end up doing the same damage? Like, if the guy is almost finished and gets knocked down, it's easy, like the Chito Vera Rob Font fight. But it's tricky when there's grappling against strikes landed. That's a very difficult thing to quantify. I
would like to see much more specific kind of wording in the scoring criteria. I've brought that up before. I think the biggest thing is there does need to be like an overseeing body for him. But make it easier for him. Give him fucking open scoring. Give the judges more specific criteria. And have them fucking justify the decisions they make. Because how the fuck is a fighter supposed to know if they've got the rounds now? It's way too difficult.
Well, the thing is, I think it's a weird one though, because I don't mind us moving away. I don't like the idea that I can just take you down, stay on top of you, not really hurt or look to change position or finish the fight, and that's just a win for me, a round for me. I feel like I need to be able to do something more offensive to benefit in that position. So I don't mind the idea. I just think there's got to be like a happy medium, because it's not easy to control somebody either. So that needs to be rewarded. It's not easy to land good, clean shots and counter and move away, even if maybe those shots don't seem as heavy. So I don't know. I did think Shevchenko won. I thought she got a bit lucky, and I thought it was a bad fucking knock. She looked like the jet lag kind of kicked her in the arse a little bit, if I'm honest.
Well, she got unlucky with having a back taken in the first round. Was it? I can't remember. Did Santos work the whizzer on that one, or was it just when she tried to throw the trip? They just kind of landed a little bit funny, and Santos was able to drive into the top position. But it wasn't necessarily.
I think she's.
Go on, sorry.
I was just going to say, I think she's taken for granted a physical strength advantage over the people she's fought at flyweight, and she was so used to being able to just land a counter, close distance, body lock, get trip and get the takedown. That even when it wasn't working, it's like it took her 3 rounds to actually realize I'm not really as strong as her, and I can't out-grapple this lady in the way I'm used to.
Well, she looked good in the clinch up against the fence. And I think, she took encouragement from that. Basically, as I see it, loses the first round. And then she looked like someone that was fighting from behind. And that's why she was making some frustrating decisions. And, her corner were telling her, stop engaging the grappling. She was doing that all the way to the end. I guess it fucking panned out for it because the judges were leaning that way too. But I saw more of a frustrated fighter than, say, someone just kind of like tired of sitting on top of the tree, heavy lies the crown and all that. I think it was more just she had a bad opening frame, a bit of bad luck, and just looked a little bit off the back of that. Yeah. Still pretty fucking good for a bad night.
She still got it done. Tough luck for Tyler Santos, but fair play to her. Put in a great showing. It's either a rematch or she's back in a fight. You know what I mean? She's in the title picture. We'll see what happens. Let's talk about this rematch. Let's talk about Joanna. Let's talk about Weili Zhang. Pick show. We talked about Inoue versus Donaire. We talked about sometimes what happens when an older fighter has a great fight against some young killer. and just loses that fight, and then they do the rematch, and that older fighter gets destroyed because that fight was their last great moment. Joanna's 2 years off age. She just wasn't quite the same. She still looked good. She still looked good, but she spent all week talking, I'm going to be a surgeon, I'm going to be in and out. And then as soon as the fight happens, she tries to plant her feet and land the fucking biggest right hand of her whole career. And just constantly, even the takedown was just from her not actually keeping her range and distance. It was obvious to me that, she might have been in striking shape, but she wasn't used to that conditioning of somebody aggressively trying to take you down. And even the spinning back fist that landed, Joanna of 3-4 years ago, you'd never see her that close. You'd never see her overstretch and miss her that much for a shot and be in that terrible a close position to be hit with something like that. She'd be at the perfect range and moving out. And that's what happens when you're away for 2 years. I don't think her heart was fully in it. I think she told herself that if she trains really hard for 5 months, she can get it back. She had a foot out the door. And gutting to see her retire, but the right decision. Josh, Sly, your thoughts, please.
Well, she's retiring. She said it.
She said it.
Businesswoman and a mother. Yeah, I was just gonna say, I wasn't gutted to see her retire. I think it's the perfect time. I'm really glad that she took this challenge on. Yeah, she looked rusty as fuck. Came out just way too close, very uncomfortable, fainting for no reason at all, burning up a lot of energy. And she did start to look, old, slow, laggy, rusty, and it's all kind of the same sort of thing. If you're not active, if it's been a while and you're coming in without a tune-up fight, this shit happens. But at the same time,
weird she didn't go for a tune-up fight.
Well, why though? It's either you still got it or you haven't. She's not interested in being a middling fighter. You're a championship to you. You're not. I understand why she did what she did. We kind of saw this happening, although we thought it'd be a bit closer maybe. I don't think... No one was going to, out of respect for Joanna, be like, she's definitely going to come out rusty as fuck. This one's going to be a bloodbath. And she had some good moments in there, but it was just very sloppy, just throwing frantically with no real game plan. And Weili Zhang was landing just about every fucking shot because, well, it was hard for her to miss. Joanna's guard was off, her rhythm was off. She was just way too fucking close. And where she likes to kind of come in, crash in, throw those hooks, throw that head kick when it's almost a bit too close, but she gets it up there. That wasn't going to pan out today, and you can't bully Weili Zhang like that. So, it's just a bit of a sad end, but still, you're fighting Weili Zhang. Her record is fucking ridiculous. I mean, this whole division, to be honest, has been so much
lost to Rose in the UFC. Like, that's how good Weili Zhang is. And that Weili Zhang, I don't know if Rose beats that Weili Zhang. That Weili Zhang was fucking terrifying. The way she landed that takedown was, I mean, the word explosive does not do it justice.
No, the way Rose fought last time, shit, even Randa Marcos could beat her. But, like, yeah, Weili Zhang looks a fucking beast right now. I would not want to be Carla Esparza for numerous reasons, but
she's gonna get destroyed.
Who knows? I guess destroyed. On paper she's got the best sort of style for a chick like Weili.
I don't see her taking Weili down. I just think it's
on paper.
Carla's done really well to get to this point, but there's just. We've talked about this before. Joanna, Rose, and I put Rose in that category because I don't care if she had a bad night. She's still one of the best in this division. And Zhang Weili, and maybe Marina Rodriguez. They're different level athletes. We're seeing these strawweights. They hit hard. Their technique is fantastic. They're fast. They're lethal. But particularly Joanna, Zhang, and Rose are the three that have always stood out. I'm glad that Joanna got to retire in the cage. I think that's cool. And, what I really liked with Zhang Weili when she was talking is she was saying, in her mind, Joanna's passing the legacy onto her to a certain extent. And there will be a point in her career where a younger fighter that's better than her is going to come along. And that will be her turn to pass on the torch. And I love that. I love that attitude. I love the respect that they had for each other. I don't know if anybody saw this, but there was a really nice moment between Valentina and Joanna after their fights as well, which was kind of cool just to see sort of two competitors that fought each other 4 times, sort of, paying each other respect at the end of one's career.
Yeah, they're classy fucking ladies. I like Joanna a lot. I'm going to miss her as a fighter. I'm glad that she's getting out at the right time.
Legend of the sport, future Hall of Famer, will be in the Hall of Fame for her career, for the fight of 2020. And I don't care what anybody says, I still think that she won that first fight against Zhang Weili. That it didn't work out for a second time around. Let's talk about a young man that me and Josh did not put a lot of faith in. Jake Matthews. We actually said on the pick show that we don't view this guy as very good. We don't think he beats ranked fighters. We don't think he beats good unranked fighters. And he just absolutely creamed a guy that I think is pretty damn good in Andre Fiallo. Sly, you must have felt good picking right on this one.
Mate, Jake Matthews is a fucking beast, man.
Absolutely stunning. Aussies came to fucking play. I mean, I think all the Aussies won apart from Malkoon.
Who you might be able to argue did in fact win that fight, but
we'll get to Malkoon.
Jake Matthews has looked like the kind of fighter that would get eaten alive by Fiallo. Counter puncher, likes coming in close with big hooks. Jake Matthews, a guy that is largely underwhelmed in the welterweight division. But yeah, man, he fucking turned up. And I've got to be honest, we weren't the only ones that didn't have faith in him. From what they were saying about his fight interviews, he very much talking about going back to being the same aggressive fighter he used to be. He understood the need for a renaissance, for a rebirth. And yeah, fucking fair play. That was a very impressive performance.
Damn straight. Looks amazing. Jack, talking about Della Maddalena, man showed up as well. Survived a pretty nasty Darce choke, got himself out of it, landed. Nice combination of punches. Really tight. I mean, I actually lost the link just as he was getting put into the Darce choke and came back, and Amiv was on the ground and Della Maddalena was walking around. So I knew something had happened. And then when I saw the sequence on the replay, I was like, yeah, that's pretty much what you need to do as a striker.
Yeah, spin out of it. But that was in fucking tight. That was in really tight. And what the fuck was up with that sunburn? But still,
that sunburn was crazy.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the reasons why he didn't win. I think he was impeded by that.
It's too uncomfortable. Well,
that's why he went for the Darce choke.
Yeah,
that's why he went for the Darce choke. He didn't want any skin-to-skin contact with it. Yeah,
that's probably why he was so reluctant to put it down to the mat at the start. He didn't want anything touching it at any point. Amiv will be back though. He is a solid fucking fighter.
Yeah. The way he locked that in, there's potential. But Jack is a beast, and he moves on to the next one. There were 4 finishes on this main card after only 2 finishes in the first 6 fights. So it really did gear up. I think when people are talking about this being one of the best cards of the year, I don't know if it's from the prelims, but certainly those last
prelims
5
were still
fights.
Good.
That's
prelims
about
were
as
still very good.
They were good. But these top 5 fights, man, those are as good. That's as much entertainment as you can ask for in a main card pay-per-view.
Yeah, dominant champ gets run close. One of the best fights of the year. Highly anticipated rematch ends with a finish and a retirement. It's drama.
Where do you guys put Yuri versus Glover in terms of the pantheon of title fights? Like, is it a top 10 fight for you guys? Is it the best light heavyweight fights?
No, top 5 for light heavyweight fights. I think John Jones against Gustafsson, DC against Gustafsson. Jesus Christ, Chuck Liddell, Randy Couture. There's so many good light heavyweight fights. This was the glamour division for a long time. I know DC said that when Yuri won, but did very much feel like it's not the glamour division these days, but it fucking was. I'd say it's like a top 5, but it's just one of those magical moments, just willing dance partners. These were the right guys to get it done. One wild, dangerous striker with insane power, and another power puncher with an insane ground game. And he's still going to go and try and throw that flying knee. Yeah, this is what I want. And both guys, their chins fucking showed up. I know Glover was saying he had a bad wake up. You'd never know it from the way he was taking that damage. What a beast.
No. But he was tired at the end. Let's look at some of these prelims, because we do have some good fights. Josh Kulabao takes on Dooho Sting Choi. This was a good back and forth. Song Woo Choi. This was a good fight. Good back and forth. Kulabao gets the nod in the end.
I thought he almost got fucking robbed on this. That definitely should have been a finish at the start. I think these days we're pushing towards earlier and earlier finishes. That one would almost be late by today's standards. That should have been a finish. And then the fact that the judges gave... and I picked Choi. I think this one would have won me the fucking picks, to be honest. But even I was like, how are you giving this man 2 rounds? I don't see it. I just didn't see that. Even trying to like go and like damage. Kulabao, I felt, beat him objectively and subjectively in those first 2 rounds. And almost finished him in both rounds. He fucking had him in trouble. How the fuck are you giving Sting that second round? It doesn't make any sense to me. I was frustrated with some of the judging.
Yeah, that was a weird one. The thing is, I kind of felt like the judges did get the right decision, even if some of their logic was off. Like the Shevchenko scorecard, 49-46, I think we can all agree is total bollocks. Some of the splits were a little weird on this one. What was the next fight down? I think it was this Maheshi versus Steve Garcia?
No, it was on the prelims, wasn't it? Have we done all the main card?
That was the next fight.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
So Mahesheti's a beast.
Don't know until you know. Now we know.
Didn't know until you know. That right hand was an absolute monster. Was there follow-up shots, or was it just the right hand and he just fucking crumbled it?
I don't know if it was my imagination, but I'm pretty sure it was the right hand and then the left came in with a pillow for Garcia to sleep on. Was I just seeing things? Maybe that didn't happen. But Garcia was knocked the fuck out. That's one of those, all I've got is just Chris Tucker screaming in my ears.
I'll tell you what, there were two finishes on the prelims, but they were both horrifically brutal. Like, out. Absolutely out. We'll talk about the other one a little bit later. But let's talk about... Out. Talking about some Aussies, let's talk about fucking Malkoon taking on Brendan Allen. At the time, I actually thought Malkoon won, but looking back, if we're going to be scoring damage over control, I feel like it had to go to Brendan Allen. What was your guys' thoughts?
I picked Allen.
Go on, you picked.
I was gonna steam in with a whole barrage of why I think Malkoon might have won that fight, but you go ahead, bud. Shit, good fight.
Yeah, it's so tight. it's so tight.
Allen was the much more kind of accurate technical fighter, but I felt like when Malkoon was landing, he was landing heavier shots, and obviously was a lot more, a lot stronger and a lot more dominant in the grappling. I don't have a problem with it being scored either way. For me, this was just a close one, but I just I was very happy because I picked Allen when that decision came in, but I'd already marked it down on my little list as I'm going through, whether I got the pick right, if I got the method right. And I've already put down, nope, got that one wrong. And then fucking comes good with a split decision. Oh no, it was unanimous, wasn't it? I thought this one might have been unanimous. This one was unanimous.
Unanimous.
Hey, yeah, as soon as they said unanimous decision, I'm like, shit, definitely haven't won this one. Glad I already written down that I've lost it. And then, Brendan Allen looked as surprised as me when it came in. So, not that it matters. Slow won the picks week, I didn't.
Malkoon needs to do more. Malkoon needs to do more when he's got guys on the ground. His control is really good, but he just needs to add a little bit more fight ending intention, and he would have won that.
Or do you guys think he could get down at 170? I'd love to see him just real leaned out if he just had all the same power and cardio still. What we've got here is we've basically got Matt Hughes fighting at middleweight.
Matt Hughes ended more fights. It's still the elements I think Malkoun needs.
Because he fought at welterweight. That's what I'm saying. If you take a welterweight, you put him in the middleweight division, he's probably going to have a harder time bullying people around. You take a welterweight, you put him in the welterweight division, daddy's home. Do you know what I mean? It's just, this is what we've got. We've got, like, probably one of the closest kind of comparisons I can think of in terms of, like, how strong they are as a grappler to one of the all-time greats in Matt Hughes. And the dude's fighting up at 185. I'm mostly going off of how I look at him and his body. And obviously his stature is only 5'9". You know, a lot of featherweights are fucking taller than him. But if he can't get down to 170, like, there's no point in fucking speculating on it. And if he wouldn't be effective at 170, then you're just taking years off your kidneys. But I wonder, if he could get down there like that, Jesus Christ, he would finish every fight in the first round.
Yeah, but dude, that's this case. Like, there's a lot of middleweights who just don't really want to fight at welterweight. Gastelum, Kevin Holland took some serious
Gastelum wants to fight at welterweight. It's just he has a hard time committing to it when they do occasionally let him fight. Well, it's been a long fucking time. I don't think he's still technically banned. I think if he asked for a welterweight fight, they would do it. But if you couldn't do it when you were young, I don't know if he's going to be able to do it now.
Whoever got Edson Barbosa to featherweight, hire that guy. He knows a way.
Whoever got Aldo down a bantamweight.
Yeah, that guy as well. But also, it's like, come on, it's Gastelum's got it to lose. That's not all fucking fight weight when he's in the cage. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the case for a lot of people, you know. But only if it wins, it works. DC should have been a middleweight, arguably a welterweight, but he liked food, so what are you gonna do? He found a way.
Well, okay. I mean, even at heavyweight, he was like one of the strongest guys in the division. Fucking Roy Nelson could have fought a middleweight. I just don't think that ever would have happened. I think he would have gone off and played baseball before he did that.
Possibly. What a terrible decision that would have been. Baseball's awful.
No, the guy was like a legit high school sports star. I think he played like baseball, football, maybe basketball as well. On top of all the kung fu he does, and the jiu-jitsu and that. For a guy that stylises himself as a jiu-jitsu black belt and a kung fu master, an awful lot of ducking, bobbing, jab, overhand right. Doesn't add up. Whatever. Don't trust the fat. I think that's fair enough. I'm right, waffling and we're running out of time. I apologise.
Exactly. So quickly, Dinar Bakderel versus Kang. Kang fought well at distance, chops his leg up, jab looked nice, solid win. Silvana Juarez. Sorry, Silvana, was it Gomez Juarez? I think.
There's a lot of names in there. I'm just going to go with the standard Argentinian. I'm shorting it down as an anglicised piece of shit. Silvana Juarez. That's what I'm happy to go with.
Silvana Juarez. We can stick with that. 5'3", 5'4", little package, big power. She has landed. This is a great. She had 2 fights in the UFC, 1-1. She lost to Demopoulos because she charged in when she knocked Demopoulos down and got caught in an armbar. But she's landed 2 right hands standing up in her UFC career, and she's got 2 knockdowns. That's a hell of a fucking stat in 2 fights. That right hand was monstrous. I mean, for a strawweight to knock somebody out like that is fucking crazy.
Yeah, not really a lot of setup either. That should not have landed.
No. Ling Na went to the astral fucking planes. Absolute astral planes. The only thing I think that's a shame with Silvana is I think she's 36 or 37 or something like that. So you've got this prospect that you think, we've got great knockout power, but I just don't know how far she's really going to go in the division. At that age, how much can she improve? But she got 50 Gs. And she's going to be fun.
It's the
At least
last
for a
thing
few
to
more
go.
fights.
If you're going to be old, have a game built around power rather than speed.
Very true.
Although,
Very
looking
true.
at her stand up from a technical point of view, she's only going to go as far as the ladies that let her land that shot. As soon as someone goes, do you know what? I don't fancy eating that shit today. I think she might be shit out of luck, but we'll see.
Maybe so, but still, hell of a fucking right hand and a hell of a win. Takes 50 Gs. They gave 50 Gs to every single person who got a finish, and I thought that was cool. Apart from Yuri, who already got fight of the night. So they were like, we're giving you something. You got a belt. Be happy.
You're getting a new contract.
And Ramona Pascal, defeated by, what's her face, Jocelyn Edwards. Again, dodgy decision. I felt the right decision, right person won, but they gave Jocelyn Edwards the first round. I didn't really agree with that.
No.
I thought she should have lost that. It's funny, I actually thought she was getting in trouble throwing the teep kicks after a certain point, but it kind of stopped working for her halfway through round 1, and then it kind of started working for her again in rounds 2 and 3. I don't know if she was...
I think she was scared of that power from the get-go. I think she respected that power a lot coming in. And then when she did get tagged in the first round, she looked like a fucking zombie. So it was like, just...
Yeah, but Pascal was catching the foot really well as she was throwing the teeps and then using that to set up a sort of overhand right. And that's basically like the kick that started getting Jocelyn Edwards in trouble. And then suddenly round 2 and round 3, Ramona just stops trying to catch the teep kick. And I didn't understand it. I thought she kind of gave Jocelyn Edwards an easy route to win, particularly on something that you stopped and then turned the round by being able to predict her throwing that teep. That kind of weirded me out. I thought she sort of just mentally lost that fight, Ramona.
I don't know if maybe she got close to the liver a couple of times, or if it was just, again, too much inconsistency with over how these fights are scored, so she starts worrying that maybe if she looks to just try and catch that and land a damaging shot, she's going to find herself down on the cards. But yeah, hard to say what went wrong on that one. But yeah, still a fun fight.
And that was the card. Fun fight, fun card. Only 11 fights. We did lose Bontarine versus Manel Cape, which I was gutted about and would have been a great fight to have on the main card, but you don't always win. Can't always get everything, but you can get what you need. There is a bit of news, but I think we can maybe touch that on the pick show instead, because we don't want to run over. I'm trying to keep these a little bit more concise these days. So I think we will say that's a show, unless there's anything pressing that anybody else wants to discuss.
I just want to get in one more. Rolling. Congrats, Sly, but fuck you. And this next one's mine.
Thank you very much, Josh.
Well done, Sly. Although
you're not too sad.
I'm sorry.
But I'm not sorry.
What was really gutting is that when I thought you guys had tied for 6 hours, I spent a good amount of time thinking on how we were going to do a tiebreaker, and I came up with what would have been a really fun tiebreaker to do on this episode. And then Sly won, and I can't do it. I was going to do a very short MMA quiz between the two of you, but with graded questions. So Josh was to get the harder questions, and Sly would get slightly more appropriate questions for his level. So it would be like a handicapped quiz. So Josh, for example, was going to get questions like who headlined UFC 233, and Sly was going to get questions like spell Tony Ferguson.
TOE, KNEE.
But it was not necessary. Sly won all on his own. And we're going to keep doing another pick show competition. They're going to be like mini seasons. And next one is going to count. We've already agreed what the winner's going to get, what the punishment for the loser's going to be. And I will not finish in last this time. Mark my words. On that note, guys, thanks for watching. Click the video, like the video, talk about us, recommend us to people that will watch our video. And have a great week ahead until we see you for the pick show. Bye, Dave.
Bye, Dave.
Bye-bye.